Hello, how are you? My name is Kris of Krissys Over the Mountain Crochet. Today I'm going to show you how to make these adorable Shamrock Scrubbies. They're two-sided. You make two shamrocks, sew them together, and then make a little hangy loop. Aren't they adorable? It's so much fun in the kitchen. The children will love these in the bathroom, if you have a little girl's bathroom. And I made a pink scrubby for those of us that are fighting breast cancer. I'll be using Red Heart Scrubby Sparkle yarn. Let's get started.
You will need the yarn, an H crochet hook, scissors, and a stitch marker. So let's start by making a slip knot, chain 3, and join in a ring. 1, 2, 3, join in the ring. Chain 1, this will not count as a stitch, and then single crochet in the ring. Chain 3, single crochet in the ring again. Chain 3, single crochet in the ring. Chain 3, this is the last single crochet in the ring. And there we have 3 little loops for the shamrock leaves. Now slip stitch in the top of that single crochet. Chain 2, 3 double crochets in this chain 3 space. But that's not all. There will be a total of 7 stitches. But we start with 3 double crochets, slipped off my hook. There we go. Shove those off to the side, a half double crochet. Now 3 more double crochets, 3 double crochets. And you have the beginning of your first shamrock leaf. There will be 3 shamrock leaves, but the shamrock leaf is chain 2, 3 double crochets, half double crochet, which will be the dip, and 3 more double crochets, and then to finish off that leaf, slip stitch in the single crochet below. And it's a tight slip stitch. You want to form a leaf, and there you go. All right, so next we will slip stitch into the chain 3 space again, chain 2, and execute the same sequence of stitches, which is 3 double crochets, half double crochet, 3 double crochets, and a slip stitch in the single crochet. I'll meet you at the join right here. I'm at the end of round 2, and I need to slip stitch in either this single crochet or that single crochet. It doesn't matter. I prefer just to go over and slip stitch in this single crochet. And that finishes the round. All right, that's looking a little shamrocky, don't you think? All right, so now we need to slip stitch into the chain 2 space. These chain 2 spaces do not count as a stitch. Now we chain 2, and we will execute 2 double crochets right here in this first stitch. It can be a little bit tight sometimes. Have to work your hook down in there. Now there's 1 double crochet in the next stitch, and 2 double crochets in the next stitch. And remember that half double crochet? We're going to make more of a dip in the leaf by slip stitching in a tight manner down into that half double crochet. All right, how's that look? Now we're going to chain 2, remembering that it does not count as a stitch, and 2 half double crochets in this next stitch. double crochet in the next, 2 double crochets in this next, all right, we have the beginnings. You can see this, the dip is starting to form, and we need this to curve down. So we're going to slip stitch down into this single crochet again, and it will be a tight slip stitch. Let me pull that up so we can look at this. There's our first shamrock leaf. We've executed that slip stitch. Now we're executing the repeat again, and the repeat is slip stitch into the chain 2 space, remembering the chain 2 does not count as a stitch. Now we will chain 2 and begin the sequence again of 2 double crochets, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, a slip stitch in that half double crochet, 2 double crochets, a double crochet, 2 double crochets, and then a slip stitch down in the crook there, down in between the leaves. I'll meet you at the join, and I'll explain the join and how to start round 4. I am at the end of round 3. I'm going to remove my marker and place a slip stitch down in that single crochet down below. This is a tight slip stitch. Now I will begin round 4 by slip stitching into the chain 2 space. You can make that a generous loop if you'd like. Chain 1, half double crochet in the first stitch, double crochet in the next stitch, 2 double crochets in this next stitch, a double crochet in the next stitch, a half double crochet in this last stitch. We are at a dip in the leaf. Now we will slip stitch into this chain 1 of that chain 2 space, and since it's a dip, we will now chain 1 and execute a half double crochet in the first stitch, double crochet in this next stitch, 2 double crochets in the next stitch, double crochet in the next, and a half double crochet in the last stitch of that leaf. Now, since this is a break between leaves, this was a dip right here. This is a break between the leaves. The repeat starts over, so slip stitch in that chain 1. Now go ahead and slip stitch into the chain 2 space. That makes a more defined dip between the leaves. So now it's chain 1, half double crochet, double crochet, 2 double crochets, double crochet, half double crochet, and then a slip stitch in the first chain, then a chain 1, half double crochet, double crochet, 2 double crochets, double crochet, half double crochet, then a slip stitch in the chain 1, and then a slip stitch into the chain 2 space. So let me put a marker. I need to remember this markers so that I don't get confused. And I will meet you at the end of round 4. Now I'm at the end of round 4. We're going to begin round 5, but first at the end of round 4, I'm going to slip stitch into this chain 1, this beginning chain 1, and that is a little tricky. There we go. Now this slip stitch does need to be tight. Now this next slip stitch is just walking your yarn 1 stitch over. So make the loop a little generous and slip stitch in this stitch. Now we begin without any chains, no chains at all, and we will half double crochet in this next stitch, double crochet in this next stitch, 2 double crochets in the next stitch. We're coming to the dip in the leaf, not the end of the leaf, a double crochet in the next stitch, and a half double crochet in this last stitch. Now we need to slip stitch down into this dip. That's a tight slip stitch. Then we need to slip stitch into the chain 1 space. That's not so tight. We're wanting to walk our yarn. Now it's a half double crochet in the first stitch, and it can be fiddly. This yarn's a little slippery. Half double crochet, 2 double crochets, double crochet, half double crochet. Now slip stitch into this next stitch. This is with a generous loop. Slip stitch into the dip. This is tight. And then slip stitch into the beginning chain 1 of the next leaf. We executed a leaf, which makes a little heart shape. The shamrock makes a little heart shape. And we now need to slip stitch into this beginning chain 1 of the next leaf. All right, now it is slip stitch in this next stitch, and that can be hard to grab those tulips. There we go. All right, now we begin the half double crochet sequence. So what we're doing is we're stacking our stitches in toward the middle to make the dip, then slip stitching down so that we have more of a definition between the leaves. So we slip stitched in the last stitch, slip stitched into the dip, slip stitched into the chain 1, slip stitched into the next stitch. Then we will execute the half double crochet, double crochet, 2 double crochets, a double crochet, and a half double crochet, and then it's the slip stitch into the dip, slip stitch in the chain 1, then half double crochet, 2 double crochets, double crochet, half double crochet, and then slip stitch in this stitch, slip stitch in the dip, and slip stitch in the chain 1, and slip stitch into the half double crochet. And this is all written down for you. I'll meet you at the end of the round, but before I move on, I am putting my marker right there, and I'll meet you at the end of round 5. We're at the end of round 5. I have one more slip stitch to execute right there. This will be a generous slip stitch. There we go. Now I need to slip stitch into this dip. I don't like that gap, so I'm going to grab some of those stitches. This slip stitch should be a little bit solid. Grab those stitches. This is the last stitch in this round. You do not go on over and slip stitch in that chain 1 space. The written pattern instructions state that also. Now we need to either end this off with a short tail, make a second shamrock, then on the second shamrock, leave a very long tail for sewing. So we have 2 shamrocks. One has a 2.5 foot long tail left. The other one has the tails worked in. I'm making sure everything matches. Then I'm going to thread the 2.5 foot yarn tail through a needle, a yarn needle, just an old plastic needle, and then start whipping these two pieces together, just matching your stitches together, whipping it, just an overhand stitch. Just keep going round and round until you're finished. It's kind of a fun project to watch a TV show, and so make several of these, but just go all the way around, and now that's finished. And we have a bit of a yarn tail left, and that's exactly what we want, because we will take this long yarn tail, insert our hook right at the base of where we started, and then pull up a loop. Pull it through. There you go. You have your loop. Now start chaining, and you will chain for 25 chains. You'll need 25 chains for the stem and for a hanging loop. Then come back to the base after you have crocheted 25 and slip stitch. Slip stitch right where you started. Cut the yarn tail. Well, pull it through. You end off correctly. Pull it through and cut what is left. After, don't immediately cut. You've got a nice yarn tail. Now thread that yarn tail. Cut some of that yarn tail off if it's too long. And then thread that yarn tail through a needle and work it in. And you have a lovely, lovely scrubby.
Hey, did you enjoy making a little scrubby? How much fun is this? And they are so cute. You can just scrub your pots and pans, or you can scrub your kids when they're really dirty. I hope you'll come to my side of the mountain again soon. I do have more Shamrock tutorials on my channel. I hope you'll like and subscribe. It was good to have you on my side of the mountain. Bye.